0800 111 40 41 is the number to call. Let's just react to some news that's happening today as well. I'm sure you'd have heard it on breakfast this morning about the Lower Thames Crossing, which is being pushed back by 2 years. The Transport Secretary Mark Harper said the delay in its planning and construction would help meet inflationary pressures. Less than 2 months ago, those constructing the Lower Thames Crossing said there would be spades in the ground by 2025 and it would be built by 2030. Well, that appears it's not going to be the case less than 2 months later. Laura Blake is chair of the Thames Crossing Action Group. She's a very busy lady when stories about the Lower Thames Crossing come out, and she has taken some time to talk to us today. Hi, Laura.
Hi, Ben. Hi. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on again, Laura. Are you delighted with this news?
Mixed emotions on it. Obviously, we're glad that it does buy us a bit more breathing time to keep trying to get those points and the evidence. But at the same time, there is the issue that we have got problems at the Dartford Crossing, as we all acknowledge, that needs to be solved. Obviously, we don't believe that the LTC would solve those problems. So we're hoping that government will actually, sooner rather than later, start paying attention to what actually needs to be done to solve those problems.
We heard about HS2 yesterday as well. Do you think that this delay and what's happened with HS2 might start getting the government to have another look at these big infrastructure projects all over again?
Who knows what's going to happen at the moment? I mean, the Secretary of State did mention on making sure that this project is suitable and that it's effective and deliverable. As we always say, we feel there's evidence to show that it's not effective or deliverable. And in regards to government decisions, if we're talking about a 2-year delay, we've got a general election between now and then. So who knows what may happen? We're just going to keep presenting that evidence.
That evidence has been presented, Laura, and they still decided to build the Lower Thames Crossing. They're still planning to do it, albeit a couple of years later. So, I mean, does it really change anything if the evidence you've already presented hasn't altered the course that they're going down?
Up to this stage, we've actually been in consultation, which is National Highways actually meant to be taking on board what we're saying and the evidence we're presenting. This next stage, which hasn't been delayed, and we're still facing the development consent order, the planning application and examination on steroids for these huge programmes, that's an panel of inspectors. They're the ones we're going to go to. They're the ones we'll present the evidence to. A lot has changed over the years. There's a lot of new legislation coming in, like the new air pollution targets that government have just brought in. National Highways haven't even finished assessing the route against those new legal levels. So there is still a lot to play for, and we're going to keep presenting that evidence.
But coming back to the issue that you've already admitted, that something needs to be done. I mean, I can tell you now that in about 3 hours' time, as Friday afternoon starts, the queues are going to start forming on the anti-clockwise stretch of the M25 from Kent into Essex. That is going to happen. It happens every Friday, and they back up all the way to Swanley. Brook Street gets hugely busy, so something has got to be done. What is your suggestion? What's your alternative rather than fighting the current plans? What do you think they should be doing?
The 2 main points I will make in response to that. Firstly, 70% of the goods in and out of the Port of Dover actually use that Dartford crossing. 42% of the traffic using the Dartford crossing is goods vehicles. There's no rail connection to the Port of Dover, so more sustainable rail options to get more freight off of the roads onto rail. And also, with that traffic building up, even with the LTC there, if traffic's coming round the M25 to the Dartford tunnels and they are busy and they try to seek the alternative route of the LTC, there would still only be one single lane off of the A2 onto the LTC. That is going to be a severe bottleneck and just spread the congestion chaos further afield.
Does rail work though, Laura? Because at some point, a firm is going to need a lorry to, get their goods from the freight stop, wherever it may be, and then drive their goods vehicle to where it needs to go. So they might as well just keep them on the road anyway if they're still going to need a truck.
Obviously, it depends on what is doing it. It may not be the solution for everyone, but any reductions we can make on those road usage, whether it be that we then make sure that those journeys are more localised rather than actually using the Dartford crossing. And also companies like Tesco's are making that move to rail, and it's showing to be that they're actually managing to keep their stocks better shelled because of more reliability by using rail. It's more sustainable. All companies should and legally will be obliged to start moving more and more to carbon net zero. So it's not something about whether they want to do it or not. It's something that needs to be done.
Where does your campaign go from here then, Laura?
We're still full steam ahead preparing for this DCO examination to make sure that we've got as much evidence ready to go. The fight continues for us.
It's Laura Blake, the chair of the Thames Crossing Action Group. As ever, thank you for talking to me this morning. Laura, busy morning, 10:46 is the time, quite busy on the roads as well.